Good morning and welcome to Moopsy in the Morning for August 9th, 2024. I am Mom. And she says, scrolling over to there. There we are. I guess I'm the only one here today. Oh no. Oh no, Uncle, Mr. Bill. Oh no. I was going to say Uncle Bill. Nope, that's somebody else. So I was leveling up last night with some of my tunes. Good morning, Zimmer. How are you doing today? Let's move that over there. Spending a small amount of money to pick up a few officers here. I will buy some better officers, yes, I promise. But I figure I might as well pick up the cheap stuff, get some of my chips here. All right, testing my knowledge. Who did Martok defeat in a duel of honor? I want to say off the top of my head, it's Gerard, but I do this so often that as soon as I start typing the word path, it comes up here. What are we looking at? 4-4. Counselor Kolka. Wow, the one of the three I wouldn't have guessed. Good thing I cheated and looked. Good morning, Mr. Dave. Oh, man. Mr. Dave, I'm so sorry to hear that. Any news from anything else? Oh, let me use it. Wow, they fixed the chip problem. Yay. Okay. Well, it's a good thing when you call back most of the time because that shows that you're really interested. What have I got today? I've got phaser damage in space, Tholians on the ground, and D1 arthropods. Well.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, Chris. There you are. I heard part of you speak and then it just went away again. And then the dog started barking. Because, that's what they do. Lolo?
Tradition has to be upheld.
Yes. Girls, mommy's killing things. Can we be quiet? Thank you, dears.
Just launching the game.
No worries. Tholians on the ground. I wonder if I have...
Finish a match in something else.
I wonder if I have anybody already over on Nukara. I don't have anybody on Nimbus that I'm aware of. I had somebody there last night, but I don't know if it was on this account. I want to say it was Kethma. Let me see if I can send her down to kill off a few Tholians super quick while you're getting into game.
Yeah, it's still logging. I mean, I did log after the patch, but it doesn't need to download, but it's taking a minute.
No worries. I will scroll through a few things here. I've started finally cleaning up from Ryza, putting away all the toys, putting away the swimsuits for another year, putting away all the stuff. It's an Ed! Good morning, Ed.
Morning. Y'all good?
Morning. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes my system acts up and...
So does mine. I call it morning. Oh, you mean the computer.
Yeah.
I'm doing coffee because I have meetings this morning till noon.
Oh, goody. I bet you're excited.
Oh, yes. Can't you hear the enthusiasm in my voice?
Yeah. You can.
Let's see, how many do I have to do? I have to do 20 Tholians on the ground. Oh no, the horror. Let's see, do I have anything left to get from this nice lady? Nope. I don't do mineral matters.
I'm sorry. Can
It
my
is a
PayPal
very
account go
silly one to do.
sorted? And we are in just difficulty. Oh
No,
no, not this.
what?
No, I just got all the grand endeavors, which
Yep,
about
yep.
to get a reroll now.
That is why we have rerolls.
I don't do Zingethian ground. I mean, I could leave the Dewan arthropods, I guess.
They're easy enough.
Yes. So, why not even a single one? I mean, there should be a variety, right?
I think we should have more endeavors, bigger variety of endeavors. Speaking of bigger varieties, I will switch back to something in just a moment that I noticed yesterday, and I thought it was me. But it looks like they've done a very minor but pleasant change. And let's see where everybody is. Are people down here? Anybody down here? Might as well kill these 20 while I'm down here. Got 7. Oh, 7's not very many. It's because I picked a very dead one. I will say the Agony Field does make going through a bunch of Tholians a lot easier.
That's why I couldn't send the money back to my account. Sorry, I'm just.
That's okay.
I was fighting with PayPal a little bit. Apparently, if you get money in a different currency, you have to send it out to your account in that same currency. You can't just translate it to your own. Kind of dumb, but okay, I won't argue.
I presume that's in-game and not in real life?
No, I mean PayPal real life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that'd be a pain in the butt.
I mean, I don't lose in it, but it's just like, if it's showing me the account status in like my own currency, then it would have been. It should have been fine to like do it in normal in my currency to make a
You would
pay
think.
back, but it's I would think, and I would be wrong apparently.
Oh,
Finishing
well, I got that one. I
another
guess I won't go back.
SG1 episode. God, that
Uh-huh.
show was so good. I'm so
Yes and no. Let's be
mean,
honest. It had its moments.
like every science fiction show, it has its ups
Exactly.
and downs. Let's be honest. I'm not saying that it was unanimously 100% gold, but they've definitely had an idea where they were going with the lore and expanding upon the universe and expanding the knowledge of Stargate and all that. And there's been some interesting takes on things. I mean, I didn't like the filler episodes for sure because they're like. But back in the 90s, I guess it was normal for all the TV series that had like 20 plus episodes in a season that they would have to find a room to save the budget and
Yeah.
Generally budget
do a
reasons.
retrospect episode where they're like reminiscing in the events of the season so far, and I'm like, yeah, I'm usually
But-
skipping those episodes because they literally bring nothing, and
But
I've just been binging, so I know that all by heart. I don't want to see it again. But I get the idea behind it. I think every single sitcom or TV series of like the 90s that, or even before then, was made. They tended to do that. I think even TNG did that every once in a while.
Well, filler episodes for things like TNG really were budget driven. When
Yeah.
they were out of money, gee, what can we do with Outgoing Planet side? Or what can we do with minimal different stuff in guest
CGI,
stars?
Yeah.
Yeah, no CGI back then.
No shots, no expensive shots with some sort of mashup battles and stuff.
Nope, nope,
No special effects.
nope, none of that stuff. So you go back, I don't know, TNG was 88, so let's go back
Isn't it
20
87?
years. A season for TV show was 39 episodes. So they would film 3/4 of the year, and 13 weeks they were off to do other things or have vacation.
Yeah.
But that's a grueling schedule.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the people were written into contracts where they couldn't leave, With TNG, I remember they were talking about Patrick Stewart leaving after, what was it, Best of Both Worlds? And
Yeah.
if he had decided to go, they were going to kill him off. because
Wow.
well, he wanted to not be doing as much as he was doing, and got some better writing out of that after all. But
So
yeah,
that convinced him to stay. So he wanted to die in that
well, I don't know
arc.
that he wanted to die, but I know that he wanted some changes and he was ready to walk.
Yeah.
I get it. He is a name. He was already getting outside work at that point, and the others weren't. So that could have been interesting. Promote Riker up to captain and see what happens.
One
But
of
then
his
TNG wouldn't be the
stipulations.
same.
Yeah, one of his stipulations for staying was getting rid of the fish.
I like to
The fish.
fish. Yes, Livingston, the stonefish he has in his office.
Yeah, his stance was that in the future he didn't believe keeping an animal like that captive.
Oh, you mean the aquarium that was in the
Yeah,
corner of his room?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the little dome one. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He
yeah.
didn't like that. I don't know.
No, he thought that in the future that the show was trying to depict that it was cruel and unusual.
Yeah, we're just going to leave them in the wild where they can get eaten. Yep.
Couldn't they just tell him that they're holographic?
They absolutely could have said it's a holographic
They
fish.
could tell them they're artificial, they're replicated, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been a throwaway line when the holograph, or when the holodecks glitched one day. He could turn around and go, go over and poke at it and report it to Geordi that the fish.
Literally, that could have been such
Yep.
such a low building stuff. Like, and we know that there were characters that had like holographic pets
Oh,
throughout
yeah.
later
Oh yeah.
series, like earlier series. So like, why didn't they just like?
There is a throwaway line in, I think it's the Day of the Doctor or Name of the Doctor, one of the two. Either way, um,
Why wouldn't
the
he
head
throw a
the,
tantrum
the
over Spot?
yeah the head of unit in Doctor Who is sitting there in the park, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, tell Malcolm that the birds need to be have their batteries changed out."
Yeah, that is a great line. Okay, so
Aw.
everybody stop for 1 second. If you're watching my screen, there is an NPC standing to my left who's walking around with a pad in
Yeah.
her hands. That's a new NPC.
New as in you've never seen it before over there?
This is the first week I've noticed her. She wasn't there in the past, and the her pattern of walking
Yeah.
and all that is coming out of, well, it's something that Janeway does. It's this pacing, stepping around and watching that. I had not seen that before and just started noticing it this week.
I don't sit around there long enough to actually notice differences in NPC.
Well, I've been on
But yeah, you're
Lysa
right. I
for a
didn't think
month.
I recognized this
Yeah.
one. She's
Uh,
not even Starfleet personnel. She's not dressed
Nope,
as a
it says
Starfleet
she's a
officer.
market speculator. And by the way, good morning, Kadargo. And good morning, Mar Hawkman. Mar Hawkman says, just saw YouTube about how TMP was originally planned to be even longer than it actually was. Yes. Yes,
Oh, God.
indeed. Yeah, I think it was in excess of 3 hours. And a lot of it was supposed to have much more beauty shots of the ship. And Mar Hawkman says Spock's spacewalk into V'ger was originally planned to have Kirk help him for part of it. Yeah, I loved the beauty shots, but it did get tedious.
I mean, it started to feel like 2001 Space Odyssey
Very
all over
much.
again. Oh, God, we didn't need that twice. And I already feel that they kind of went too far with those shots, with the cut we have.
Yeah, I agree.
So like, no, let's not do more of that. I mean, I get it. The ILM did an amazing job with like making everything look so
It
sparkly
wasn't
and beautiful.
ILM. It was not
Oh wait,
ILM. It was a different
wasn't?
company. They were trying to compete with ILM.
Who did that? Because their work was just amazing. I know ILM did something on Star Trek, but I think it was later then.
Yeah, they did later. If I remember right, it was Douglas Trumbull who was doing the effects. No, can mommy have your
I
hand?
still don't know how they've done all the shots of V'ger, how long and big and massive it seemed. I mean, I guess they might have used miniature, but I still don't get how everything was moving. And magic of of the movie is like I still don't
Oh
get
yeah.
how it worked, but it looks so real that I'm still mind boggled how they managed to do that back in the day when they had not much CGI available and the CGI that existed at the time was really poor. That doesn't hold up, and that movie still holds up visually. I
Mhm.
mean, story wise, let's ignore it, but like the visual aspect of TMP was just like mind blowingly beautiful.
So,
Um,
so I said it was Douglas Trumbull who was involved. Yes, he was heavily involved with it. And here's the funny thing: you were saying that
Well,
2001 had the long shots. He was also the
oh
graphics.
god.
He did that for
Yeah, I
2001
know.
as
He
well.
worked in both of them,
Yeah,
so I
but
guess
he's
it's
not the
his
one who
influence.
directed it. So he made it possible, but it was up to the director to make those prolonged shots that never end.
Yeah, those shots were like. I mean, I think.
Which,
I mean, I appreciate 2001 Space
for what it
Odyssey,
was quite imaginative.
but it did not age well for like modern audiences. Is undigestible, I think.
I don't know. I enjoy it. Let's see.
I fell asleep 3 times trying to watch it one time. I forced myself to. It wasn't my thing. I don't need like fast-paced action, but that was nothing happening and long, boring shots way over the other side. To the other side, too much. Like I don't need a Fast and Furious kind of thing, but something needs to be happening.
Mar Hockman, we were talking last night about season 1 episodes, and he is not fond of the episode Heart of Glory. Um, the entire main plot is making what is normally TNG, the good side of Klingon culture, into something dark and sinister. I kind of like Heart of Glory because it shows that some of the Klingons aren't really buying into this Federation, we're good guys type thing, and that they like their old ways. And I kind of like, in fact, I very much like the fact that it shows that the culture still is diverse and people disagree. And I know it's not very Roddenberry, but wow, what a good episode for that reason.
I always had an issue with the old TNG Klingons, TNG Voyager era. I can't buy in. Like, how can they're like walking nitroglycerin slash dynamite. They are like they're so volatile and like oh my god, I get offended by honor and stuff like that, by my honor and something. But they are rarely honorable in what they're doing. Their understanding of honor is exactly the opposite of the actual honor.
It's because they're not terribly well written.
right? Like,
Well, still, the way they were written is the way we know them. You
yeah.
can't
Yeah,
just
we get to theorize and make up
we
our
can't
own
we can't give
Klingons.
them
Come
more
on.
credit than they've been given on screen. I
I
will
can.
not give them. Well, I can.
Well, you don't have
If,
to.
if if it hasn't been properly depicted, then that's the way they are. And I still, it's mind-boggling how they maintain starships with the structure and unscientific approach in everything. Like I can't understand how they even comprehend warp travel if they're so crude and patient and so again volatile is the word that fits Klingons very much. I remember the episode that kind of the Voyager's Endgame, was it? Is that the Endgame title, the final 2
Yes, there is one.
episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Endgame called. And the future Janeway has an arrangement with a Klingon. I don't know if he's a scientist or whoever else, but he had a piece of technology that allowed Janeway to travel back through time.
Right.
And like she had a settlement, and she knew he's gonna like be dishonorable in terms of like not upholding his word. And I'm like, that is so Klingon. How are they even claiming to have honor if they're constantly changing their mind and acting like oh, I'm gonna trick you into doing something like.
Yeah.
I still have a
Bad
huge dislike
writing.
for it.
Bad writing where
No,
they don't understand the characters that they're writing, or the concepts, or the culture.
well, the thing is, this was like the fourth show running
At that time,
subsequently
yeah,
from
that
the
would be.
series. So if you can't get your writing for a race by a fourth show, then you just leave it as a badly written race,
I
and
mean,
it's
Kinda.
unredeemable.
technically speaking, the Klingon should not be using cloaks. It's
Yep.
dishonorable
Yep.
to, sneak
That's
up on your.
that's my another thing. Why are they using cloak technology if they're honorable? They should just stand and face defeat. Like Juula is the one-on-one dishonorable character in STO because she's constantly, oh no, I'm getting beaten. Cloak and withdraw, and like that every single patrol TFO which involves Juula makes her run like a coward
Well,
by
let's be
cloaking, and then
honest.
like,
If
what the hell is that?
But you have to go into it thinking, there's the honor and all that stuff. But honor is not, well, we got injured, we can't cloak and go save our team. We're all just going to die here.
Well, injured, they can't. They don't even accept help from medical support because they think injured means you should die in the battle.
Yeah, that's really
Their
stupid.
philosophy
That's
is so
how
dumb.
that's how
It's like,
cultures fade away.
you
real
go
quick.
extinct with that
I
philosophy.
mean,
like,
look at Worf. His entire arc
don't get me
is-
started about Worf.
is how he's trying to live up to being Klingon in the Federation, and it's like you were a baby when you.
You have no reference to your culture. You don't
Yeah.
know your culture from outside of what you've been told.
Right, and therefore
By
he's going to have
Federation,
a
and
very
Federation
jaded
doesn't
view of
understand.
what his culture is.
Yeah, and he was like, Klingon doesn't do that. Klingon doesn't do this. And like, how do you know? You've never been among Klingons. Like that was the
Gay-rated
worst
book.
written character for me. when it
But
comes to
I read
war.
a book about it, and therefore I know everything.
Well, that's the thing. I
Hmm.
think Federation was way beyond that, and him as a member of the Federation and being a Starfleet officer would have taught him better. How could he be a Federation officer, quite high-ranking officer, might I add, serving on the flagship of the Federation, with such big misconceptions about the race that he will eventually encounter as potential enemies?
You would think,
See,
yes.
That is actually something that I've spent quite a lot of time pondering while making those videos. And again, this is part of the reason why I despise Heart of Glory, or I guess not despise, but dislike Heart of Glory, is because Heart of Glory was the first moment in TNG where they showed that Worf's perception of Klingon culture was him looking at it through rose-tinted glasses.
Of course it is. That makes it for a more
Yeah.
realistic
But-
portrayal.
But it also means that the guys who Worf is trying to be friends with in that episode are straight up villains.
And he got himself into so many cases where he got manipulated into something because he had a misconception, used by someone, to their own ends. And
I mean,
you still want to glorify the Klingon Empire.
the core of the whole thing with the whole discommendation thing is that Worf is trying to go into Klingon politics like a naive child and needs Picard to help him with it because he doesn't understand Klingon politics as well as Picard does.
Yes, but Picard is, by his nature, a more thorough individual who studies backgrounds, interrelationships, understands political machinations. I think
Well, I mean,
when you come
there's
to
a reason
understanding
why-
it, he doesn't have the need for those rose-tinted glasses.
There's a reason why Picard got sent on that mission to do diplomatic contact with the Gerada.
Right?
He's someone who's a naturally skilled diplomat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well,
So
Worf is
Picard
not.
Worf's not.
Picard is the Federation's most idyllic poster boy.
Mm-hmm.
He believes in the Federation to his core.
Yep.
That's why he spent so much time on the command of a ship rather than as brass.
Well, one of the things I was getting at though was that it's like, what kind of a ship was the Batris?
I don't know.
Because like that was actually a key thing in that episode is that when the Enterprise D finds those three Klingons, they're on board a ship called the Batris. What was the Batris?
Wasn't a Klingon ship, was it?
No, it definitely was not a Klingon ship.
Talarian
remember.
freighter. It was a Talarian freighter.
I don't remember.
I looked it up. So
And what happened to the crew of the Batris?
they're not there anymore, so we can just assume that he killed them all.
Yeah, Chorus murdered them.
Which is
See, Chorus was the captain of a ship named the Ta'akog. And the Ta'akog was destroyed while they were doing a boarding party to take over the Batris. And the thing is, though, is that the battle to take over the Batris left the Batris crippled and drifting in space. And the Ta'akog got destroyed, so now they were stuck. They legitimately needed to be rescued by the Enterprise D because otherwise they would have died one of the most ignoble, dishonorable deaths imaginable. Oh, boy.
What you said about Picard is even reflected in what's being written into the lore before Picard's show. Because even as an admiral, he despised being behind a desk, and he moved into the evacuation effort for the Romulans. Like, he was on an active ship that was actively working on the evacuation efforts, and he was fighting teeth and claw up until the Federation withdrew from that evacuation, literally putting his entire career on the line, saying he will quit Starfleet if they will not comply with his demands. He needed to be an active admiral. He couldn't stand. He was so believing in the ideals of the Federation that he didn't see how Federation has moved away from those ideals, and that's why he left. And then in by Picard season 1, he despises what Federation has become and Starfleet has become.
After the whole incident with the native tribe, he was like, I don't like what you did. And then come insurrection.
Yeah, that already started showing some cracks, and like he's idealistic while Starfleet is already sacrificing and compromising those ideals he believed in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So many cases, but he still was the idealist in terms of like politically seeing Starfleet as well what he was probably brought up to understand, to believe in, because. Yeah. I do believe that is kind of the same situation when they're training Starfleet officers. They're being told that, all about all the ideals of Federation and to follow orders, even if they don't agree with them, and all that. So they were really kind of training idealists in terms of like captains. By the time Picard was still in the academy, later it kind of shifted, and later captains they weren't exactly as idealistic, but.
I had the impression that Picard is someone who his career path went atypically, and that's part of the reason why he acted the way he did from the start. Because, well, it's kind of mentioned that Picard was actually someone who was getting close to be mandatory retirement age.
Yeah, they were trying to force him out of captainship a few times, just like they tried to force Riker into captaincy.
Part of that, though, was just how long it took him to actually get promoted to captain, because he was apparently a younger officer for a relatively long time.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, we're halfway through our morning. Would anybody like to go kill something in our true Federation style?
I had to take a patrol because I was like, I needed to pew.
Yep, I need some pew.
Well, I've done my great stuff because it was only disruptor damage after the reroll, and I didn't want to use so much dilithium to reroll more, so...
Well, I need to do some phaser damage if anybody would like to join me. Joshua is up to Endeavor rank 730. Congratulations, Endeavor. Congratulations, Joshua. God. Yeah, he's almost there. Almost there.
What my ranking is?
I don't know.
679.
Id, are you up to game or are you just chilling today?
What are we doing?
Something fun. I don't care. Pick it.
Sure.
I just need space PP.
Yeah, let me finish this patrol and
Yep, no
Let
worries.
me get
Yeah,
some.
yeah. Joshua says he'll join us. Hey, that gives us enough big guns. We could do anything we want to.
I need Polaron. My Polaron guns. Ooh. No, that's small enough. I could probably run this as a double. Let's see, and anti-proton.
Yeah, if you get a 50,000 damage, you can usually run double with anything else as long as it's long
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, I got a 50,000 Polaron damage in space and 150,000 anti-proton. So I can do with actually, you know what? Let's do 3 of the anti-proton. It'll get me there faster.
Okay. You do that, and I will do this.
all right.
Let's see, what have we got for a big one? I mean, we've been doing a
fine.
lot of guillotine, which is fine for big, and it's fun.
Oh yeah, I know what I was flying. The USS Blue Skies.
There's Jupiter Aratus, that runs a long time.
Oh, I like that one.
No, let's do that one. We haven't done that in a while then.
Same. I can't get it to queue.
Pardon?
I can't get it to queue when I'm a solo, so it would be a welcome change.
You can queue it in private when you're solo. I do it all the time.
It's not the same as doing 3 manning in advance.
No, there's a lot
Mostly,
of dying involved when you do it solo.
That's why I don't
But
try
I
it.
use it for sometimes when I want to just go out and do phaser damage or something, and I can not be in a crunch for time. Just I'll go out and pew
Yeah.
pew at things.
True.
Let me know when everyone's ready.
Ready?
Oh, I'm sorry, Marhockman. What'd you say?
That thing I was talking about earlier was that how I doing a series of videos
Mm-hmm.
talking about the various plot aspects of the TNG episodes. Looking at the backstories of some of them and borrowing those and like writing an adventure using the backstory in a different way than the TNG episode used it. There's a whole bunch of things in there that are interesting food for thought that are little more than one-liners that got forgotten in.
Yep, they do that a lot. Oh.
Like
Excuse me.
here's one for you. The Edo Guardian.
Yes.
What was the Edo Guardian guarding?
I thought he was guarding the people who lived down there. They were his, not children,
Well,
but
what I was getting at is that the people living on the planet Rubicon are actually just one of several planets in that area that are apparently being watched over by the Guardian.
right. It's one of their
So-
experience. It's a personal
and-
experiment that they're doing. Is everybody
And-
ready for me to cue this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Now I know they've given explanation to
We will.
what the Guardian is, but he's got a very much caretaker vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of my observations about the Edo Guardian is that the prop used for the studio model of the Edo Guardian
Mm-hmm.
is the same prop that is used in a different episode for a space station.
Yep.
Which is one of those things where you're like, okay, so the people making this prop made a prop intentionally making it look like a space station.
Yeah.
So what does this tell us about the Edo Guardian's nature?
Don't know. I don't know where you're going with this.
Is it actually a singular entity, or is it some sort of an alien civilization?
I assume it's an alien civilization.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it could have been a collective group of people.
It could also be a computer. That's all that's left of the people who once lived there.
Yeah,
Could
like
be.
the whole like rogue supercomputer
Yep.
AI thing.
Maybe not rogue, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's say they plopped the people down there as part of an
Rogue,
experiment or a colony or something,
rampant.
and
Okay, I suppose rampant would work better in this case. Because like rampant doesn't necessarily mean that it's doing something against the wishes of its creator, but that it's doing something not anticipated by its creator.
rampant doesn't mean that.
Well,
Kind of means out of control-ish, running, not completely, but somewhat running amok.
Maybe
yeah.
trenches.
But that's what I was getting at, is that So someone created to do something. It's not exactly doing what they wanted it to do, but it's not, doing something completely contrary to
beta?
what they wanted it to do either.
Okay,
I'm gonna cover it. Gamma.
I'll help you with
Gotta
them, and then I'll go
pronounce it.
move into position someplace else. Looks like I'm gonna head over to Alpha. I don't see anyone over there.
Excuse me, why are there ships on the station?
I'm gonna shoot this guy if he tells me about the stupid rifts not closing themselves.
I wish we could. I honestly wish he was in a ship that could be targetable.
Yeah, really.
Oh, he's inside the space station.
Let's shoot the
Yeah, I
space
know.
station. Let him take down the space station. See if we care. Gets rid of him.
Actually, you know what?
Hmm.
Real world logic. The Terrans are trying to steal data from the space station's computers. Cut power to the system.
Josh, if you want me to see your ship, get closer.
I
And
gather the station has systems and
But
stuff.
data's
and
not
that
a
cannot
Jupiter
be cut
station.
from power.
I was gonna say that.
but like the whole logic here though is that if you shut off the main computer system, we don't have to listen to him talk.
That's
while it's
brilliant.
turned off.
Brilliant.
And the Terrans can't do anything with it.
Right? It's like, we're getting hacked. What do we do? Pull the plug.
Well,
I
I
mean-
think the assumption is that the station is containing stuff and projects that can't be shut off, or like need to be safeguarded for security reasons. Perhaps they hold more than just data.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, see, here's his thing though. It's like there's active experiments, then there's the central data repository. Those
No, I mean like
presumably
something
wouldn't-
like the changelings, for instance, that have been something like the changelings that were experimented by people of Federation, and they need
don't-
to be monitored by computer or something like it, or like computer needs to maintain their.
Again, that doesn't
Right.
necessarily need to be the central repository. Like, that's not a particularly good security feature if you're using a single computer to monitor every thing going on the station.
Yeah. Unless it
Oh.
happens to be like controls.
Which we know is going the wrong direction too.
Yep.
But that was actually a plot point in the new Battlestar Galactica, is that what Galactica would do when the Cylons tried to hack into their computer systems was to shut off the external communications relays.
It would be inaccessible from external sources. Yeah. We don't really know what the data thief ships are really doing. Maybe
Let's be
they're doing
honest, if we
something-
make this too logical, then having all these fights and missions and stuff doesn't work as well.
half
So
of
we
the
do
TFOs
have
should
to...
be shut down. Half the TFOs should be shut down if they're logical. Like the evacuation ships on both SB1s
Mhm.
have their shields down, and they're actively attacking the attackers and drawing attention to themselves, exposing themselves to fire.
Yep.
Like if they could just not fire and just raise shields,
We are
they
not going to
wouldn't
let
be fine.
logic interrupt a good TFO here.
Yeah, Vulcans were not present during the planning of those missions.
That's a good title for a Vulcan focused episode. Logic interrupted.
Logic absent.
Logic not found.
Or logic not found.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally. And let's pull a dent in the ISS enterprise, shall we?
Heading over to Beta. Hopefully I'll get there in time.
Are you kidding me with this? My ship's invincible. Give up already.
Hey Joshua, don't leave the map when we're done here. I want to see your ship up close without you flicking around faster than a mosquito.
What ship are you in, Joshua? Why are you not in the voice chat?
He's shy.
That's so uncharacteristic.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, it's like that's the thing I was doing with those videos, though, is that like which aspects of these things are have been forgotten and are things that you could legitimately have fun playing with and writing a story.
Well, one thing I do when I'm writing non-Trek stuff, and even some Trek stuff when I do fanfic, is try to remember that a culture views things through their moral outlines. And by constantly sticking our moral code on somebody else means that we're not really understanding what they're doing. Hence, if your culture is like, hey, it's fine to vivisect people, and we say it's not, well, we're going to say, well, that's evil and that's wrong, but in their cultural imperative, it's peachy keen and hunky-dory.
Well, I mean, I wasn't looking at it from a moralistic perspective. I was more like looking at like the bits of backstory that were, shall we say, minor footnotes that didn't get carried on later. Like, well, I mentioned like last night that thing about the Aldeans,
Yeah.
and how there's this one-off line in the episode where they mention that the planet that the Aldeans are living on isn't their homeworld, and
Right.
that doesn't go anywhere.
Yep. No.
It's just and also it's mentioned in there that the planet that they're currently living on, that has the cloaking device on it, has had that cloaking device working sort of for about 2,000 years.
Okay, so they got there 2,000 years ago. Joshua, get over here
From
so we can
where?
see your ship.
Yeah, yeah.
What was the synth destroyer? One of the synth ships.
Yeah,
Pilot destroyer.
That's the part about that one that kind of got to me, is that when you pay close attention, like, who are these people? Where's the rest of their civilization? That would be something that you could have a lot of fun tinkering with.
Oh, you could, yeah, but for me, I always love it when they do that, because if I want to write a fanfic, I can grab one of the cultures that isn't well defined and write the backstory of my own. Joshua, very nice looking ship.
I gather it's the event redeem. You got that from the event box, perhaps? So there was a lockbox thing, I think.
Is it
originally.
really?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
from the Mars attack thing. It's
Well, I finished
Was
up the
an
event
lockbox.
on 2 accounts yesterday, the meta event. The other 2 are going to run right up till the end of the last event, I think, and I'm probably going to have to buy it out.
well, I need 150 tokens on the meta event. I'm
But you get-
4,050 and I need 4,200, so
3 more days.
3 days.
3
Yeah.
days, yeah. Technically 60 hours, depending on if you really want to play it that way. On these 2 accounts, it's done. On the other 2, I still need 48 more days.
Well, I'm more and more inclined to get the Dauntless side dreadnought from Prodigy Season 1. Was what Janeway was flying in the first season.
I
to
haven't
find
decided. I
Jacob.
still haven't cashed in my tokens from the last 2 years on 2 of my accounts.
Oh! You could already go, like, okay.
I have so many ships. You know, I've got really good ships I've never opened up. Now I have time.
See-
now I can do
see-
stuff. Ooh.
Well,
If-
prioritize what
if-
I want at the time.
I would be far less cautious with those if it was an account unlock, because as is, I have to decide what ship to get and also which character I want to give it
Yeah.
to. And that's like the double analysis paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's like the first one I never actually used. I got the ship, I opened it on the character I was going to use it on, and it's still sitting in his inventory.
See, that's the reason I have an inventory full of stuff I never use.
Well, that's simple for me. I've got one character I've been developing for 12 years. So
Okay, that's a little too paralyzed for me. One character. No. Nope.
It's too paralyzing to do the same stuff over and over. I mean, not paralyzing, but like repulsive. I don't want to do the same content all over again. And the time it takes for one reputation to finish up, and now looking at all the reputations, I need to get to the same level my main character is. Like, I'm not doing that again. It's going to take too
That's
long.
honestly really, really boringly easy at this
Yeah,
point.
reputation was not the biggest issue. I mean, you've got the option you could buy out to level 5 and just finish level 6.
I mean, my current TOS recruit character got to level 46 from doffing yesterday.
Yep.
And
Well, the other reason is
most of the options for earning marks aren't available, and she can't spend any marks. Yet I'm almost to the point where I have over 200 marks in every single reputation.
Oh, yeah. Well,
100,
even on my low ones, I'm
70,000,
sitting on
yeah,
300.
I get that.
But what I'll do for my low level tombs to get marks is just run whatever the event thing is, like Defense of Starbase 1, and just fill in each one till at least we're sitting at 300 or 400. Or on my main ones like this, where I'm sitting at 2,000 to 4,000 on each of them. And then once I get to enough, I'll cash them in and get to lithium.
Is there like a max capacity of like marks?
I
I'm
don't
going
know.
to
I
have-
know a lot of people who are in the 10 and 20,000 range.
Yeah, it's
20,
definitely
600,000?
several thousand. That's for sure.
Way over.
Try to mouse over it. It might tell you if you mouse over your number of marks.
No, it's just telling me what I've
No,
got.
yeah,
not
I've
showing the
got
max.
603,000
Because like
making marks alone.
certain things, if you mouse over it, it'll tell you the currency cap.
No, it doesn't. Not
No.
in the inventory on the reputations.
Well, then who knows?
Maybe it's not.
It has a cap. That's just the way the currencies work in Star Trek Online. Granted, some of the currencies have a cap that's in the billions, but they still have one.
Well, one might get too crazy high, like when I was running New Romulus daily for a long time. It was hitting into the 10,000 range, and then I was like, well, I'm not going to buy anything with this. Let's just cash it in and get some dilithium. Like, I'm not going to buy a lot of stuff for this tune. After I do whatever build I do on this one, then I will go cash it all in or cash it in so I've got the dilithium and start refining that. Okay, I got time for one more before I go get ready for work because I got meetings today because I flipping retired, which means I'm only working like 40 hours a week. And that didn't work out too well so far. What shall we do?
Do we have time for Swarm?
I got time for Swarm. That's perfect.
Let's do it then.
Okay, I'm queuing it up right now. We are queued for Swarm. Weeboo?
We had we would.
Chris, at some point I need to get your Weeboo engaged statement from the other day and put that onto my Stream Deck, which maybe I will put my Stream Deck together this weekend. I did get new lighting because my ring light died.
Aw.
Well, I'd had it for like 5 years, and I only spent $15 on it, so I think I got my $15 worth of it.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
I look
But I
at
have to-
Inquiry, which is supposed to be the size of the Sovereign, but actually got the size of the Voyager. Cute. I still can't stand how they misrepresent some of the ships. From the canon, I'm
Yeah.
fine, like the ships that they make up, I'm fine with their sizing being all over the place, but like the canon ships, like Inquiry is supposed to be almost the same length as the Sovereign. They are supposed to be like sister ships, kinda. But like the Inquiry is almost the size of the Sovereign's saucer and the part of the hull, but that's it. That's so cool.
Oh, right. It's like I was just thinking again. It's like there's actually one of those that I did a special thing pondering. Is that we talked about the whole like Haven issue, where like okay, you have the guy who is engaged to marry Diana, who is seeing in his dreams this woman who he's never even heard the name of in real life. So he literally has no idea who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing. What do we know about her race?
Very little.
There are certain things we do know that are kind of interesting. Because they did tell us a few things. And one of those is that her race used to be at war with its neighbors, and that whatever the plague was happened to hit their race about the time that those wars ended.
I've got the one on the far west for the satellite. Go away, Ed. It's mine. It's mine. Go away. Go. Shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot.
Which, is one of those things like, okay, so did one of their enemies try to wipe them out with a bioweapon?
Yeah, that's what I was going with.
Yeah, that sounded like that.
But, so, you're engaged to somebody for the majority of your life. It's an arranged marriage. Your parents have put it together. This is 2024. If you were in an arranged marriage, wouldn't you Google the person to see what they look like?
Yeah, that is something that I found to be particularly strange about this, is that Wyatt never saw a picture of Diana, apparently, ever.
Right.
And, and so it's not,
Not even a mental image from Waxana.
Right.
Well, I mean, because it's one of those things. It's like his parents apparently talked to her parents about that in person.
Right.
Because the reason why that pairing was apparently set up was because they actually worked together.
Yeah. There's some professional relationship or neighborly relationship. There's a reason. And I'd have to go back and watch it. But, you brought up a really good point, Marhawkman, when you mentioned this yesterday. It's the magic that is just in Star Trek.
Well, perhaps, and I'm just saying that, we don't have any data about the culture of these people, but I mean the Wyatt's culture, his family. Maybe it was a custom for them not to research it because it was like they were taught that way. They were brought up that way. It might have been a tradition not to research them. They had technology for quite a while, and they just decided it was an ongoing tradition from before the technology that we do not research the fiancés are not researching each other in the way of the meeting is supposed to be when they don't know each other. Really, they don't know anything about each other.
Wyatt's a human.
Yeah.
His ancestors came from Earth.
And
if they're doing that, well, okay, sure, but
perhaps it was a Betazoid tradition. I don't know. I mean, Betazoid.
No, because
there's no discussion of that line of logic anywhere in the episode.
Yeah, which doesn't presume that it's not possible.
I put it down to he's not a curious person. Which I see as a huge character flaw, especially for somebody like Deanna.
Actually, the impression I got in the episode was that Wyatt had not looked because he was under the impression that Ariana was actually Deanna.
Yeah,
he thought they were the same person, and
yeah, he might have assumed that, and he just wanted.
No, they directly state that in the episode that he believed that the woman he was seeing in his dreams was Deanna, and that he just did feel the need to verify that apparently.
Wow, I just think that is such an uninteresting character. Not gonna bother.
Well, but like the part of this that I would actually play with if I was doing this in a TTRPG, though, look at it from the other angle,
which is, hey, let's see how fast we can melt this hive over here.
How did Ariana's civilization work? How did their people do things before the plague? And what exactly is going to happen with them now after that happened? Actually, that brings up an interesting point, because like the whole Torellian plague ship concept is something that the Federation knows about and didn't try to help.
Yep.
not?
Yep. That was interesting. Ships appeared, it makes them disappear.
Prime
Because-
directive.
Right.
Well, no. See, because like the Prime Directive explicitly does not apply to warp-capable civilizations.
Well,
No.
they just
Now,
they,
non-interference in internal politics is one thing, but it's not an internal politics thing when, they're being killed off by a bioweapon that's not their own creation.
Really quick question. Was
Mhm,
that all that
but-
was left of their population on that ship?
Yes,
How many people were on it?
a few dozen.
Okay, so we're talking about a society that cannot survive without genetic
Well,
manipulation of some
actually-
sort.
Actually, on second thought, it's never stated in the episode that everyone on their homeworld was dead.
Got it.
But
okay.
all of their space fleet, that was the only ship left in their space fleet, and of all of their race, if there was people on the homeworld, then sure, but the ones on that ship were the only ones that were left in space.
Well, can I bring up another story flaw I have with this one? Deanna is a Starfleet officer. She went to school, she trained, she studied to become a psychologist or a psychiatrist and became a counselor in Starfleet. This is not a small achievement.
No.
She's going to
Oh,
get married and just drop it to be his helpmate.
And that's
I would
actually
never
what one of
understand that.
I
I don't
actually
get it.
didn't get the impression that Deanna was going. Actually, you know what? That's a thing that is a kind of thing I don't remember about that episode. It's like, was Deanna planning to just like quit Starfleet?
Yes, she was.
Yep.
Because they were doing they're getting ready for her goodbye parties and all that. And
Yep.
she's talking with Wyatt about how she will go and help him with his work. And it's
Okay.
just
She dumps
cringe.
everything because she's
Well,
pretty much married.
Wyatt's career, he was actually a biologist.
Right, and
Working for Starfleet Medical. He was actually someone who was, had a legit career in Starfleet.
yeah, but you don't give up your. I'm sorry. At that time and place, if she.
In her case, I would see it more as a reassignment than just.
No,
like,
no.
quitting
If
her
you
job.
go back and
No,
watch it,
she-
she is going to drop her career to be his helper.
This is one of those things where it feels strange to me because the fact that and you didn't mention this yesterday or any day prior to that you were
Like-
planning to quit.
Oh, you don't have any other siblings I'm not aware of, right?
Boy.
I mean,
Yeah. I know. It's one of those
it's-
things where retcons get extra retconny.
Yeah, and when Spock says no, he's not necessarily lying because he's still under orders not to talk about Burnham.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah,
though.
you can dance around that one with very careful wording, but you have to know it in advance that you're going to do it.
Oh yeah,
But the part of
I'm-
that
I'm
episode
sh-
that I think would have been most interesting to explore is who the heck created the Torellian Plague?
Yep. No, I agree. That would be a great, different story.
And why the heck does Starfleet Medical apparently not care?
Yeah. I mean,
Well-
Beverly should be on it like white on rice. Because she does that in other episodes. But for plot
'cause, like,
reasons, she doesn't.
Starfleet
She wasn't
Medical's
having her day.
approach to dealing with the Torellian Plague
May-
is apparently quarantine indefinitely.
maybe she was just waiting for them all to die so she could bump the ghosts.
Well, see, it is actually mentioned in the episode that
Oh,
the last
God.
time a Torellian plague ship had been seen and its inhabitants managed to leave the ship, when they infected the local population with the Torellian plague, it was like 10,000 casualties, supposedly.
Yeah, all the more reason you'd think Starfleet would want to jump in there and see if they can't, cure them or do something. But no.
The thing with this also, though, is there's a trying to ascertain the deadliness of the Torellian plague is also kind of strange because there's the implication in the episode that Ariana was actually born after the Torellian
Yes.
plague had infected her race. And thus, how deadly is it if you're 20 plus years old and you were born with it?
Okay, at least with that, you could argue that at some level she would have an immunity to it.
That she would be still contagious.
Well, she'd been exposed to it and her body, developed some
Or
level of
her
immunity.
parents had passed on whatever partial immunity they have or something.
Yeah.
Because, it's like this is a ship that's been wandering the galaxy for decades after it left their home world, and all of them are infected.
Right.
There's a lot of stories we would be able to tell here if we got a series that is set in the Lost era, so the Enterprise C leading into Enterprise C.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, also, it's like one of the things I like most about Lower Decks is that it actually fills a niche that I had actually been wanting to see for over a decade. It is basically, it's like, okay, this is the time period where X hero ship is wandering around doing hero ship things. So, what are the other people in Starfleet doing?
Yep.
Right. Well, like I was
I'm
talking about the
waiting
other
for
day, a story set with a bunch of Starfleet cadets, falling to a planet in a shuttle and have to spend a year or two Lord of the Flies style.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, that was a good idea.
A lot of these Star Trek novels, that's basically the premise of the novels, is that, the Enterprise D did this thing. So, what were these other people doing that got mentioned in the episode, but weren't the focus of the episode? Thus, we barely even heard that they exist.
Yep. Or like the time travel episodes we get in Deep Space Nine and Enterprise, where it's the future descendants of someone who crashed or got stranded in the past, right? Like DePaul talking to her older self, or Jadzia meeting a new host of a Dax.
Oh, that reminds me. One of my personal favorite novels ever. I need to look up the episode that it was. I want to say it was the Relics episode, but I'm not 100% sure.
Which novel was it?
Okay, well, the episode, I don't remember the name of the novel. It's something I literally read over 20 years ago.
And you don't remember it?
I remember what happens in the novel. I don't remember the name.
What happens in the novel?
Okay, the episode where the crew of the Enterprise D meets Scotty.
Yeah, well,
That's Relics, yeah.
that is Relics, yeah.
He's frozen in the. I mean, frozen. He's kept in the
Right, in the
holographic suspension.
Right.
Buffer pattern.
During that episode, they're inside the Selene Dyson sphere.
Yep.
And here's the thing. What's the side plot in that one?
What do you mean?
Riker leads an away team to look around the surface of the Dyson sphere and try to figure out if they can find a computer controlling the door so that they can just push a button to open the freaking door. Riker and an away team spend hours in the Dyson sphere on the ground trying to find a control computer to open the door.
Mm-hmm.
In the episode, that's shown for all of about 2 minutes on screen.
Yeah.
And there's an implied story because when Picard beams Riker and the away team back up, one of them is being carried because there's injured, and then it's hauled off to sickbay immediately after being beamed back to the ship. And the only thing Riker says is I'll file a report about that in a little while. That's it.
Yep. Well, clearly a
this
storyline they didn't follow.
And this novel is told from Riker's point of view. Fun book, honestly.
Well, in Relics, God even goes, I bet Admiral Kirk pulled the Enterprise out of mothballs to come find me. It's like, you were there when he died on the,
Yeah.
respectively died. It's like,
That's actually one of those things where that I have to put chalked up to the whole retcons thing because of the order the episodes were written in. Because Kirk's death hadn't been written yet.
right? So how I would resolve this is it's just one of those little butterfly effects due to the time travel at First Contact.
By the way,
In the original timeline, Kirk does not die on the Enterprise B.
Yeah.
Actually, was Relics before or after the Tasha Yar incident?
after.
After.
By the,
So
by the way, the book is also Relics. It's an expanded version of the episode.
Oh, okay.
I looked it up. Hey, I need to get ready for work, folks, so I'm going to
Alrighty.
get out of here. We might be on tonight to do some leveling, so if you have a low-level tune or low-level ship that you want to get mastered, jump on. I have no idea what time we'll be here. Maybe early, maybe late. We will see. So anyway, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon and stay moopsome.
Moopsome.
Moopsy.
Sean the non-believer. Sean.